On today's episode of the Film Breakdown Show, we talk the return of Terry McLaurin. It's so nice to have him back. We talk defensive stuff, things we're excited to see from them, and how Joe Wood Jr. is going to manage that group. We also talk Giants defense before the game this weekend. Let's get after it, boys. Let's go. Can't wait to watch a little film. Welcome to the Film Breakdown Show. I'm Logan Paulson. We are in the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. And so this is kind of a way for us to talk about some film clips we didn't get to on Command Center or in Coach's Show, kind of revisit that, and also preview the New York Giants matchup this week and future opponents. So let's get cracking. I know we talked a lot about Terry's route stem, specifically on the go route. And this is something that I felt like I didn't do a good enough job of when we were doing the show this week. So over here at the top, we got a comeback. So he's going to push out, vertical, and then he's going to run a traditional comeback. Zach's going to run a high cross here. And so some of the stuff that I felt like I missed when I was talking about it earlier this week was watch the tempo off the ball here. Like, we're going to watch the route full speed. He's going to run, kind of jog off, burst, and then hit this on the comeback. So there's a couple things that he's doing well. One is the change of tempo. So at the line of scrimmage, we kind of got a little bit of a jog, not a jog, but like a run off. And then watch the angle that he's taking coming out. We're going to push the outside shoulder of the DB. Then watch the DB. Right? Watch him open his hips when he feels this vertical stem. Watch. We're vertical. I open my hips, and then I've got the guy beat. So again, that's not like Instagram route running necessarily, but I do think the stem, the setup, the burst, and understanding, I'm sure you've heard coaches say this, maybe you haven't, of bursting the defensive back's blind spot, which is, again, right here, right behind where he's sitting. Like Terry's in the blind spot right now. The DB loses vision on him, so he has to flip his head around, and again, he's totally lost. He thinks he's running go. That's just great nuance. That's route running 101. That's an excellent job. And so the other thing I wanted to point out with Terry is we talked a lot about his vertical stems, how he runs goes, things like that. So Terry's down here at the bottom. He's going to run a wide and go. And I think if I remember correctly, we're going to get to cover 3. So 1, this guy's going to stem to the middle of the field. We're going to get 2 over here and 3, okay, in terms of cover 3. And watch how number 1 has to carry this vertical stem here. You see how 1 has to gain so much ground pushing through this zone? And watch how Zach does such a great job of just fitting in right behind it, right? This happens because this guy and this defense in the scouting report is terrified of Terry beating him over the top. So when you see stuff like this, man, like that's kind of the Terry effect, the gravity that he brings to the offense is little moments like this, right? Where we've created a big window here, right, for Zach to operate. And that's, he's one of the more efficient receivers in this offense last year. And so for him to create this kind of separation versus zone means people are stretching zones. And that's where Terry did such a great job on this play. And that's the impact he brings to the offense. So can't talk about the Washington Commanders without talking about defense. And this is a really fun clip. It's the sack of Joe Burrow in the preseason. And I wanted to point out a couple things. One is Dorrance Armstrong, man, rushing over the guard. And he did such a great job of this throughout the offseason and training camp. So watch him. He's going to find this matchup here. Watch him beat the outside hand of the guard, get skinny, and then get vertical and attack the quarterback. He really creates this pressure to flush the pocket, right? We get good pocket compression by the opposing 3 technique. It's an awesome job here. But I really think, besides the quick win by Dorrance, look at the coverage here. Again, this is 3rd and 15. This looks like quarters. One, let's see if I can get this going. 1, 2, 3, 4 across the back, right? They're doing that Madden coverage where they've got this kind of structure here. At least that's what it looks like on paper. It's a great coverage in 3rd and long. But watch this. This guy's going to push to the middle of the field. This guy's going to rotate down. So what coverage are they actually in? They're actually in cover 3, right? 1, 2, 3. And with cover 3 now, Reeves over here at the top is going to kind of rob this crossing route by this number 2 receiver on this side. So that's where Joe Burrow wants to go with the football, right? And so look how Revo just kind of sits in that window. Burrow's ready to throw the football, but because of the disguise, because of the depth the linebackers got, they take it away. So I think you're seeing a really nice marriage here of the coverage and the rush here. And this is stuff I can't wait to watch week 1 against the Giants is how do you kind of give it a look pre-snap, disguise it post-snap, what's our 3rd and long package, who's in there rushing the passer. In this case, it's, obviously Dorrance is the guy that kind of is the hero of the day, but, how does Frankie Louvu incorporate into some of that stuff? Now, let's get into the New York Giants. And I really am excited to talk about this because I think, again, this is preseason footage, but I think it shows a lot about who they want to be. So let's take a look at this first clip, right? Right now, they're in cover 3. Ideally, you don't want to run the ball into cover 3 structures, right? Because you have an 8-man box. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not good. You don't want to run the ball into that structure. But watch, we're going to get a little bit of a head tap here from the quarterback. Let's pause it. Let's highlight him so you guys can see him. He's going to tap his helmet. Watch, we're going to play the play. He's going to stand up. And he's going to say, check, check. And everyone says, why did he do that? This is an 8-man box. To me, this is fool's gold. This isn't actually an 8-man box. Watch this linebacker to the play side. Watch how, as the cadence gets going, he pushes this way. He's pushing this way. He's pushing this way. This guy's actually rotating out of here. They're exchanging gaps. They're getting to a cover 2 look here, right? So that's where the linebacker positions here, I think, tip off the actual coverage. So good job by Russell Wilson here, seeing the disguise, and watch him check it. Everyone echoes it. They're checking to a run. Watch 8 bail out of there, and watch us run duo up the gut for basically a 10-yard gain in a backed up situation. They did this, the Giants did this to the Commanders last year in the second game. This was a huge part of one of the reasons they were so efficient is anytime they got an advantageous look to run the ball, they would check to a play. So wanted to point this one out here. We can check it out from the end zone just to see the duo blocking scheme. I know people don't really understand what duo is, but think double teams. We're going to get a double here to there, double here to there, double here, and we're going back out. So we got hats on hats. We're going to base block this guy here and watch their ability to create vertical push on this duo run, right? Let's fast forward a little bit. Duo, they're going to throw some people out of the club, get some movement, right? And look at the the running back, how he kind of just chills, waits for the crease, and then he'll burst through it here. So check it out. Really nice job forcing that half-field safety to make the tackle, and that's because they did a great job at the line of scrimmage. They don't only use that. They don't only use the line of scrimmage stuff for runs, they also use it for passes. I think this is a really good example. And again, they did this same thing to Washington last year, right? So now this looks like a too high look, right? But we're going to use a little bit of motion. If we're the Giants, we're going to bring the receiver across the field here. He's going to come in motion. See him here at the top. Motion across. Now what coverage are we in? They have to unravel their coverage. I'm thinking it's some type of cover 3, definitely some type of single high coverage. We don't want to run the ball into that. We want to throw the football. So watch our guy, Russell Wilson, at the line of scrimmage. He checked this as the guy's coming across. You see the little helmet tap there? I missed it the first time I went through the tape. Watch a little motion, tap, tap, tap. We're directing the protection to 22. Great job. And now, because we know it's cover 3 and it's a single high look, we can run our single high beater. We're going to run a post. We're going to run a wheel. And I think our guy Russell Wilson misses this read because watch, the cover 3 player attaches here, the hook player declares man here, and watch, the guy runs right by him, and I think the ball should go right here because this dude is wide open. But Russell, let's go deep, let's take it over the top, and we hit it down to this post play. And so that's how they find explosive plays. So I think when I'm previewing this offense for the Giants, right, they want to run the football and they want to hunt and find these moments where they get advantageous coverage structures to take that shot down the field, right? So when you're watching at home on the couch, make sure you keep an eye out for, are we getting checks? What kind of coverage structures are we in? Because they're waiting for this moment to hit this big play and strike up the band. I think this guy gets tackled at the 1-yard line maybe. Oh no, does he go to the house? Let's see, down at the 1. That's a tough deal for him. But that's what I want to see. Now let's talk a little bit about the defense, okay? So defense right here. So this is interesting, and this is like nerdy interesting to me because they are a 3-4 team. So 3-4 means we have 1, 2, 3 defensive tackles, 1, 2, 3, 4 linebackers, okay? So that's your box structure here. However, they've spaced this differently, right? So they've got their 3 technique at like a defensive end spot. You see how he's in between the tackle and the tight end here? He's in between that gap. And now we've got our nose at a shade, and we've got our 3 technique here and our backside end. So they're actually in 4 down spacing, right? With Abdul Carter as the overhang player here. He's actually a linebacker in this look. He's not even a 3-4 linebacker. He's like your Will linebacker, your Sam linebacker in this look. So the reason I bring this up is because this changes combinations for the offensive line. If you're going to present this front structure, heads up offensive line, right? We got to make some different calls. Also, the other thing is you guys don't know this probably. See how tight this guy is? See how loose this guy is? Usually these guys line up here. They line up here really tight to their alignments, but they've shifted over. See how he's on the guard? This guy's on the guard. Be alert to a little bit of movement here. This guy's going to trigger. And again, we talked about the linebackers tipping off the coverage structure with the Jets. Here's the front tipping off a little bit of line movement. Check me out here. Motion across, and watch, we get a stunt. Boom. And this guy does a great job. Burns, man, he does a great job with this stuff of really, really, really being aggressive, creating movement, and gaining gaps. You see how he's closing gaps off as he breaks this down? Really nice play by him. And again, front structure, a little bit different. Bringing that pressure makes it a little bit challenging. Okay, so now let's get on the next play. And this may be my favorite play to talk about in this whole thing. Let's see what it is. And people say, why is that, Logan? Let's take a look. So we've got this this is third and 8, I want to say, if I remember correctly. So let's pause this, okay? A couple things to look at here. One is watch this linebacker when you motion to a 3-by-1. So what I mean by 3-by-1 is watch this running back motion over the top. We're 3 receivers here. This is a formation that I've seen Washington get in a lot. And watch how their box structure, and when I say box structure, the people in the box here, the numbers change when we motion out, when we get to 3-by-1. Watch the linebacker, how he is now out of the box. This linebacker is no longer in the box count, and they are now 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3 here. Do you guys see that? So if I'm Jaden Daniels and I've got all these pre-snap run alerts, I have an advantageous block. I have 5 blockers in here with the offensive line to block 5 defenders. Once I've got those 5 guys blocked, there's no one for the back. So this is stuff that Washington did such a great job of last year with the number count. And again, they don't capitalize on it because they get a little bit muddy in here. But this is the stuff that Cliff Kingsbury does so well, is we are going to declare the box. You're out of the box. We're running on a good box structure here. Let's get after it. Let's hit a big play here. And unfortunately, they don't quite work it out because the guard gets beat. But I think that's something that I think we'll see again in this matchup. And again, when you think about the first Giants game, this is something Cliff did a lot of, getting numbers in good situations. All right, let's get to the last play of the defense here. So this is one that I think is great. And the reason I think it's great is because this is what the Giants want to be on third down. They want to be in their speed rush package. And so what I mean by that is Abdul Carter is here, lined up over the 3 technique. Brian Burns is at the top. Kayvon Thibodeau's here at the bottom. And I would assume when it's not the preseason, this guy will be Dexter Lawrence, and we're going to rush the passer that way. However, one of the things that the NFL is changing to is we're becoming more aggressive about going for it on third down. So this is 3rd and 8 right here. But check this out. Watch the New York Jets. They're going to run the ball here, right? So watch this matchup with the guard. Watch the guard kind of manhandle Abdul Carter. He thinks it's going to be a pass. He gets thrown out of the club. We're able to hit this right in the crease here because they've got light personnel on the field. So one of the things about the Washington Commanders that they do so well is go for it on 4th down. So now, if I'm Cliff and I know they get in these sub packages, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, I can run the football if they bring this kind of cheetah package out here because I know our offensive line can take advantage of just some difference in body mass type issues. So watch them blow these guys off the ball. The back does a good job sitting in here. So even if he gets tackled there, hey, this is 4th and 2. Cliff might go for this with Jaden Daniels, and I like our odds. We're able to run for it. So that's something I'd keep an eye on is everyone says 3rd and 8, passing down, 3rd and 8, passing down. Not anymore, man. If you're going to come out here with this sub stuff, we're going to take advantage of it. I think that's something to just, again, keep an eye on from when you're watching the game on the couch or at the bar this weekend. So that's the film review show, film breakdown show. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week with a look at whoever we're playing next and anything that I thought was interesting from this last game. This show was filmed at the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.